Hey guys, it's your girl T, and it's time for a recap of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. A lot of folks have been wanting me to do a recap, and I honestly didn't know if I was going to be able to recap this season because I have been so busy on set. I've been getting booked, and a lot of times we end up working really long hours. So yesterday I was on Grey's Anatomy, but we got out about 4. But thanks to LA traffic, I was stuck in there for an hour. So by the time I made it home, I wasn't able to watch it with all the East Coast people. I had to watch it with the West Coast people. And I'm going to keep it 100. The West Coast is not as crunk with their tweets like the East Coast and the Southeast. We go in on the East Coast, but the West Coast, they're a little bit more sweet. We go hard. So, you know, I came home and I watched it, and I was just like, this show is a trip. First of all, I'm going to need Mona Scott to fire some people. She has just way too many characters. You know, like with Love and Hip Hop ATL, we know each character. We got to know their storyline, just like with Love and Hip Hop New York. But with Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, it's just too many people, too many females, and they all damn look alike. They're all either really light-skinned or racially ambiguous. I can't tell one chick from the next chick. I mean, they all literally could be sisters. You know what I'm saying? Except for the girl that's messing with Young Berg. She looks a little bit different from everybody else. But it's like Mona Scott just has too many people involved in this cast, and it's really, really hard to keep up. So I'm going to go ahead and try and break it down the best way that I know how. So let's go ahead and get this recap started. So in the beginning of the scene, we leave off where we left off last week. And with last week, we had got to meet Teairra Mari and Ray-J, and we heard about how they were together, and Ray-J basically dumped her and moved on to another girl, and she hasn't been with nobody else in 8 months. And so Teairra Mari is just really, really bitter. So she goes up to Ray-J and she tells Ray-J, you know what, do you have my stuff? And Ray-J's like, no, you know, it got thrown out, I don't have it. And Teairra's like, well, you know what, I feel like you need to cut me a check. And Ray-J's looking at her like, bitch, who do you think you are? Why should I cut you a check and I invited you to my party? And she's like, you should cut me a check. So Ray-J's new girlfriend, and I don't even know her name, she overhears the conversation and she's like, oh, you mean this stuff? And she pulls up a picture on her cell phone, and it's like a picture of some Monice creams, basically saying that Teairra Mari got a yeast infection. And Teairra Mari's like, you know what, bitch, if I had a yeast infection, it came from him fucking your dirty pussy ass. And then they start going back and forth. Teairra grabs a glass and throws it at Ray-J's girl. Security has to grab her. They start fighting. And then the other girl, Morgan, who is Ray-J's publicist slash manager, she comes over there trying to break it up. Her and Morgan start getting into it. The whole situation is just ratchet. Ray-J's going off in his confessional. He's like, I invited that bitch to my party, and this is how she disrespects me. Fuck her. She got to go. I'm like, Ray-J, when did you become about that life? I'm going to need you to calm down a little bit. You've always been the little sweet Ray-J. Don't get crunk because you're doing Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, boo. Okay, thank you. So after that whole fight, they kick Teairra Mari out. Ray-J and his girl are left to pick up the pieces and, you know, keep the party going. But that whole situation, that whole, you know, bootleg-ass fight was a mess. Teairra Mari clearly has a lot of anger issues. She's clearly still in love with this man, and she has not let that go. He's moved on. She needs to do the same. But for some reason, she's, like, so infatuated with Ray-J, it's insane. Moving on to the next people. So on the next thing, we have Monice and April. April is pregnant by Omarion, okay? So that's Omarion's baby mama. I think she's black and Asian. Real pretty girl. She's pregnant. Omarion's mama don't like her whatsoever. Omarion's mama feel like she only got pregnant just to trap her son. So, you know, she feels some type of way. And Omarion's mama is really, really young. I heard she had him at like 17. So I hope I look like that when my son turns, I don't know how old Omarion is. I'm assuming he's like 25. So I hope I still look that good when I'm like that old. So anyways, so she's at the store meeting with Monice. And Monice is showing her all these dildos. And this girl is studying talking about how she's horny and she wants to have sex with all these dildos. And I'm sitting there like, you pregnant and that's not a good vision. And I'm going to just need you to calm down and have your baby that you about to have in a month. I don't want to hear about your big pregnant ass sitting on a dildo. Just stop, April. Just stop, okay? Now, Monice is tripping me out because it seems like she's so involved with this whole dildo collection, but yet and still she's not involved with her son. So I'm like, okay, you designing hot dildos to stick up girls' asses, but yet and still you're not cooking hot meals for your son. How's your son getting fed hot meals by another female and you over here messing with some damn dildos? I'm all about hustling. I'm all about getting your money. But at the end of the day, your kids come first and foremost. And if you can't be there physically, then you should at least be supporting him financially. And it doesn't seem like she's doing any of that. It seems like Lil Fizz is the one handling all of that. So they're talking back and forth. And April even made a comment in her confession about how she doesn't understand why Monice is not being as active of a parent as she can be with her son. And Monice is just tired of people judging her. And she's saying that she wants to meet she wants to meet Fizz's new girlfriend because she was really upset because her son came home and was like, my daddy has a new girlfriend. And she's like, that's not cool. I'm tired of these bitches being around my son. I need to meet this girl. And she's already trying to pop off. And April's like, just calm down. You know, she seems like a really cool girl. She tells Monice that she met the girl and that she seems really cool. And she met her because, you know, of course, Omarion and Lil Fizz are still best friends from B2K. So she's like, well, you know what? I'm not going to pop off on her yet, but I'm going to let her know, bitch, I'm Mama Bear, and you're not going to just treat my cub any type of way. Which I find funny because she's not even treating her little cub any type of way. She's not doing anything motherly at all for this little boy whatsoever. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the next group of people. On the next scene, we had this chick called Nikki, a.k.a. Miss Nikki Baby. I don't know if anybody calls her that, but Nikki is probably one of the richest on the franchise. She actually has her own, you know, successful business. She is running 3 of her family's strip clubs in Hollywood. So she's there to, like, you know, basically support the girls, get the money and everything else. And she's also dating super rich producer Mally Mall, who has worked with Drake, Lil Wayne, you know, all of Young Money, and a lot of other people. So that's her main man. But right now she's saying that they're taking a break, and she's kind of upset because, you know, it seems like he's playing her to the left and she doesn't know why. Now, Nikki's a cute girl, but she's kind of over the top. She's kind of loud. As Nikki decides to meet with Sincere, she's saying that she wants to meet with Sincere because she wants to start getting involved in the hip-hop industry, and she wants Sincere to use some of her strippers in his music videos. She basically wants to manage these girls as video vixens, and she wants Sincere to help her, you know, basically show her the way on how she can do that. And then she's telling Sincere about how Mally Mall and her took a break, but that he keeps sending her flowers, and that she doesn't know if she wants to be bothered with him because she's tired of the games. She's tired of him playing her and just doing all types of stuff. And Sincere says that he likes the single Nikki a lot better than the Nikki that's in a relationship with Mally Mall. But it's obvious that he's only saying that because he wants to be in a relationship with Nikki himself, because Nikki has a nice ass body and she's a pretty girl. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next scene. I just can't with all these people. I'm trying to keep them all in order, okay? Thank you. Next scene. So in the next scene, we have Young Berg, aka Christian. First of all, before we even get started on Young Berg to me looks like he's no older than 15. He has a voice of a 12-year-old. I'm like, how old is this man? Why does he sound like he's still going through puberty? And he's smaller than my son. My son is 13. He sounds like my son. He's smaller than my son. He literally looks like a 14-year-old kid, a 15-year-old kid. So anyways, he's there and he's talking about how he's the #1 hit maker in the industry, and he's worked on Puffy's album, Lil Wayne's, Nicki Minaj's, Rihanna's. He just starts naming off all these people. And everybody's looking like, when did you make all these hits, and can we see some credentials? You know what I'm saying? We understand he produces and he writes, but, you know, I haven't really seen his name on a lot of stuff. Folks are saying, well, he has a wiki page and everything that he's put on there is on his wiki page. But what y'all don't know is that anybody can put anything on their wiki page. Wiki pages can be edited at any given time, so that don't mean anything. I need to see producer credits on these CDs. So until I see that, I'm going to just have to give Young Berg the side eye. It just seemed like he was just doing way too much. So anyways, while we're sitting there being reintroduced to Mr. Young Berg, aka I Hate All Dark Butts, we get to meet his so-called fuck friend, Hazel E. Okay, now what I find funny is that Hazel E is a light butt. Now these are Young Berg's words, not mine. So she's a light butt, but Hazel E is not all that. You know what I'm saying? Even though she's light-skinned, I would take Lupita over Hazel E any day. Hazel E looks a hot ass mess. A lot of folks were dragging her on Twitter saying that she looked like a drag queen and a man and everything else. So I find it funny that he wants to go in on dark skinned girls and say that, you know, he can only talk to girls with good hair, but yet and still this girl got a head full of weave and she looks a hot mess. So she's basically crying because she wants her and Young Berg to be exclusive. She wants him to stop fucking around. She's like, I've been fucking with you now for 10 years. I need you to just be with me only. Young Berg is keeping it real with her. He's like, nah, Mom, I can't do that. I got a girl. He's like, I got a different girl every day of the week. I got a chick on Monday, a chick on Tuesday, I got a chick on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturday, I got 2 chicks. And on Sunday, I put on my white suit and I rest on the Sabbath like Jesus. I'm like, I know he did not go there. I'm like, Young Berg is a damn mess. But he's basically being honest with her. I have to respect him for that. At least he's not running game. At least he's not trying to pretend like he's faithful to her. He's letting her know, point blank period, I'm fucking other people. I'm not ready to settle down. Either we're going to keep fucking, you're going to be cool with it, or you can keep it moving. All I could do was respect him. At least he's not running game on her. And like I always tell females, when dudes show you their true colors, don't try and change them. Either you're going to ride with it or you're going to ride out. But you can't change no man. If he does not want to be faithful, if he does not want to be in a monogamous relationship, then you need to make the decision as a female. But you can't force him to change. He's telling you what he's looking for, and he's telling you what he wants out of that relationship. And really all he wants is some ass, point blank period. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next group of people. So in the next scene, Morgan, Ray-J's manager, she decides to go back and go meet with Teairra Mari. Because at some point in time, her and Teairra Mari had a really, really close friendship. And she tells Teairra Mari that when you get drunk, you and alcohol don't mix. You become a very violent person. You become very ignorant. You become very mean. And I'm just tired of it. You try to swing on me when I was trying to break up the fight between you and Ray J's girl. You know, you and Ray J have been broken up for 8 months. You need to move on. So Teairra starts popping off on her again, like, you know what, I consider you a real friend, and I just feel like you acted funny. How you gonna be cool with her and me? And she's like, you know what, at the end of the day, this is my job. I'm Ray J's manager, so I have to show his girlfriend respect regardless of what you and him went through. That's my boss. That's who I work for. And it's like Teairra doesn't want to hear it. You know, she's just upset about the whole situation. But then she tells her that, you know what, at the end of the day, she still considers Morgan a friend, and that if Morgan was getting beat up and if she was getting jumped, she would jump in, and Morgan claims she would do the same for Teairra Mari, blah, blah, blah. No one gave a fuck after that. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, now we've moved from Hollywood to Las Vegas. I'm like, what the hell is Mona Scott doing here, okay? So now we're in Las Vegas, and we're being introduced to some video vixen named Makisa. Never heard of her, never paid her no attention in any music videos, but she's a pretty girl. She's saying that she hooked up with producer Mally Mall via Justin Bieber. Okay, whatever. So she's saying that Justin Bieber hooked them up and that she's basically Mally Mall's lady, and she's taking all these pictures, posting them on Instagram and everything else, knowing that Mally Mall had just recently broke up with Miss Nikki Baby. I can't keep up with all these people. So anyways, they're there and they're laying in the bed kissing with each other, and he's petting some type of, I don't know if it's a damn baby lynx, some type of baby lion, some type of baby cheetah, some type of exotic animal. I know it's not a house cat. So he's laying up in the bed with this big ass cat, with this bootleg lion, petting it and shit. And then she gets in the bed and the cat gets mad and jumps out. The whole little scene was funny. So they start kissing and talking, and, you know, she's really like, you know, I'm your girl, and I'm glad that we're getting, you know, she really wants to be his main girl. And he basically gave her the responsibility of finding him a house in LA. And so she bought him the keys to the place that he wanted to find her. He was like, you know, it's not as big as the mansion that you have out here in Vegas, but it's definitely a nice spot. So it seems like they're forming a really, really close relationship, and she's looking at him like he's going to be her man. So it's going to be really interesting to see how all this plays out, because it's obvious that he's still kind of stuck on Nikki, and Nikki's definitely still stuck on him. So it's going to be interesting to see how this damn love triangle plays out. I'm seeing another Stevie J, Jocelyn, and Mimi love triangle in the works right here in hip hop Hollywood, but that ain't my business though. Moving on to the next scene. So in the next scene, we have this radio personality out here in Hollywood. Her name is Jessie, and Nia is there, and Nia is Soulja Boy's girlfriend, and she's also the daughter of Teddy Riley. So she's Soulja Boy's official girlfriend. And so Yessie's asking all these questions. Morgan is there as well, and they're talking about, you know, how does she deal with the groupies? How does she deal with these people, you know, coming at her man all the time? And then Yessie decides to be messy. Haha, Yessie messy, that rhymes. So she decides to be messy and show Nina a picture of Soulja Boy with Corinne Superhead Steffens. And Nia is just shocked. You know, she looks like she wants to burst into tears. She's upset. And they basically recorded her live and blasted this on the air to everybody. So now she's upset. They end up leaving the radio station, and she goes directly to Soulja Boy's rehearsal to go confront him. And he's like, you know what? That's my friend. She just popped up at the studio. It's not my fault. You know, why you bugging? Why you being negative right now? And she's like, you know what? That's some bullshit. You know, I'm tired of this. You said that you was going to change. You was going to talk to nobody else. Why am I finding out stuff via a radio interview instead of, you know, it coming from you? And then Soulja Boy's like, you know what, I don't have time for this. I'm trying to rehearse a song. I'm out of here. He ends up walking off on Nina. She ends up looking dumb, and she ends up walking away. Moving on to the next scene. So the next scene, we have Monice, which is Lil Fizz's baby mama. She's deciding to meet with Amanda, who is Lil Fizz's current girlfriend. And I like Amanda. She's a real cool Latina chick. She seems like she's really stepping up to the role of being, you know, a stepmom or whatever, a good mom to Lil Fizz's son. And I have to give Fizz props. I have to give him a lot of props. He is an outstanding dad. He is taking care of that boy. The boy is fed. He's healthy. They were reading to him. He is what a father should be. Even if you break up, even if you guys are not together, he is still doing right by his son, and I respect that so much. And it's so good to see something positive in this show. So kudos to Lil Fizz. Kudos to Amanda for stepping up and playing that mothering role, because he's going to need some female energy in his life. And so kudos to both of them for trying to give this boy a healthy environment, because the mother, as pretty as Monice is, that bitch is crazy as cat shit, okay? So now they're at a restaurant in Beverly Hills. They're meeting up, and Amanda's just a sweet girl. You know, she was scared to go meet with her, but she said, you know what, I've been with Lil Fizz for 2 years. I'm going to go ahead and meet the baby's mother now. So she goes to go meet with her. Monice, right off the the bat, starts tripping on her, starts going off. You know, I'm tired of this. You the fourth bitch that he's been with since my son was born. You know what I'm saying? You need to worry about his dick and let me worry about my son. How dare you be with my son? And then when I call, y'all don't answer the phone. And she's flipping out on her. And it's like, you should be grateful that this woman is treating your son right. You should be grateful that this woman is not abusing your son, is not doing nothing wrong to your son. It's like, if somebody's around my child more than I am, I'm going to be trying to be very respectful to them so they don't hurt my child or treat my child wrong because of something that I've done. You know, Monice really needs to grow up. Her and Lil Fizz are not together. And with her behavior, I understand why they're not together. And that you can be a beautiful person, you can have a badass shape, but if you're not out here mentally, nobody's going to wipe you up. Nobody's going to want to be with you. This girl is obviously crazy as hell. And I'm glad that Lil Fizz took the proper steps to go and get full custody of his son. And that's why I get so tired of dudes talking all this shit on the internet. I can't stand my baby mama. My baby mama ain't shit. Well, if she's not shit and she's abusing your child and she's not doing the right thing, go down to the courts and fight for custody of your child. But a lot of dudes are too lazy to do that. So I respect Lil Fizz. Instead of him talking shit and complaining, he went and fought for full custody, and now he's raising his son. So kudos to him. Monice needs to kick rocks and let Fizz and Amanda do what the hell she's not doing as a mother. Moving on to the next scene. The final scene, we had Teairra Mari and Hazel Eve. They're having some type of tattoo party because Teairra Mari tattooed Ray-J's name underneath her titty. So she wants to get that covered, and I believe she ended up getting X-ray on there instead of Ray-J. It was just really weird, the tattoo. So anyway, she gets it covered, and they're in there talking, and Hazel Eve makes a comment about how she would never get a nigga's name tatted on her. And Teairra Mari, you know, just starts flipping out, was like, bitch, so what? You in the same situation. You fucking Young Berg, and he don't even claim you. Don't compare my relationship to Ray-J to your little sex affair that you're having with Young Berg. So she just starts popping off. They're ready to fight. They're getting into it. All of a sudden, out of the blue, here comes Ray-J walking into the scene with a box full of fucking clothes and other items. And he just dumps it on the floor. And Teairra's just like, oh my gosh, she has like this look of shock on her face because she's surprised. And she's like, where the hell did Ray-J come from? And he dumps all her shit over the floor. And then all of a sudden, Teairra just goes running towards him and just swings on Ray-J. And the scene cuts out. Y'all, this is one of the craziest reviews I've ever done. It's just so many people, so many characters. This season is definitely going to be interesting. It's hella scripted, you can tell. Where the fuck did Ray-J come from? You know Mona Scott called him and said they're over here having a tattoo party, getting your name removed. Show up now with a box full of Teairra Mari's shit so that way we can stir the pot. You know, it's like everything is so scripted on this show. I think the only thing that's probably not scripted is Lil Fizz and Amanda's relationship, but everything else is just way too extra. It's hard to keep up, just way too many people. But I'm definitely going to watch. I'm definitely going to stay tuned. So you guys go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this entire episode of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. How you guys liking the season thus far? Matter of fact, we got to come up with a nice name for Love and Hip Hop Hollywood because Love and Hip Hop Hollywood is just a mouthful. And I'm going to continue doing recaps as much as I can on all this fuckery. Go ahead and leave a comment. All right. Deuces.